and gentlemen, Mr. Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, popping way up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Going over here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, you've moved to the front row. Thank you so much, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Rush Limbaugh, the TV show. I have to explain the open. That was Al Gore being electrocuted being shocked. I better say it that way. Being shocked as they plugged in the White House Christmas tree, he being it. What I wanted to do, that's what we're trying to convey there. Now, obviously, what to do was have an Al Gore cardboard cutout and hang ornaments and lights on it and call that our Christmas tree. And we haven't gotten around to that. We have a real tree with... Is this real tree, Dick, or is it... We can't have it? Why can't we have a real tree? Fire regulations? I'll put out a fire if a fire happens. We got to get a real tree in here so we can cut it down. You know, trees... You know what's great about trees... What's beautiful about trees is what you do with them once you chop them down. You turn them into Christmas trees, pianos, baseball bats, or whatever, plus you anger a bunch of environmentalist wackos at the same time. It's a double pleasure. I wanted to show you this. This just came. There's a guy, his name is Guy Ladd in Milwaukee at Reprographic Technologies. And he, I guess, has made a lot of the enlargements that you see in our set of the covers of National Review and U.S. News and World Report, and this is of the book. This thing is huge, and I wanted to come stand, because I'm not that big a guy, but I wanted to... Audience politely chuckling under their breath, nudging each other. But it's really, don't you think this is pretty? It look very nice? Yeah. Well, probably. I'm heading back this way now. So Guy Ladd... Guy, thank you very much. Now, a lot of people say that we are too hard on the president, that we are too critical, that we are unbalanced, that we never show the president doing something nice, something wise, something good, that we are always taking pot shots. And as a peace offering to those of you who think that we are unbalanced when it comes to the presentation of the president, I'd like to show you a little videotape. You may have seen this. Some little girls came to the Oval Office the other day, and one of them caught fire. And the president moved in fast to save the day. Take a look at the video. Here it is. Flat.
Happy Hanukkah, Mr. President. Happy Hanukkah. Thank you. Watch out, watch out. We heard that you
Wood. You're okay. You feel okay? Not scared? Okay.
Jennifer Flowers used to love it. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody know the name Jeffrey Fieger? Jeffrey Fieger is an attorney. He is the attorney for Dr. Death, Jack the Dripper, Jack Kevorkian, who is this guy. Well, I guess I'll get into this in just a moment. I want to show you the video first. As you know, Dr. Death is in jail, and he's on a hunger strike. And if his supporters were consistent, they would assist him in his hunger strike and not attempt to get food to him. And they would not attempt to help him eat. Because obviously if you go on a hunger strike, what's the ultimate goal of that? If you don't eat, you die. Now, some people can last a lot longer without food than others. Dr. Death, not one of those people. This guy looks like a cadaver right out of the Senator Alan Cranston school. Now, Jeffrey Fieger, his lawyer, this guy is a very brazen guy. I mean, this guy is just, he's a pit bull. And I want to show you a piece of video that's incredible. Dr. Death wants newspapers. He wants to be able to keep track of the news. He wants to be able to keep track of what's going on and what people are saying about him. They are not allowing him to have newspapers delivered by his attorney or anybody else. They're saying you got to subscribe to them. Feiger doesn't like this. And here's an exchange between Feiger and the sheriff at the jail where Dr. Death is being held prisoner. Watch.
What jail regulations are there to prevent Dr. Kevorkian from taking a look at this? What? You got newspapers all over that jail. Excuse me, Sheriff Nichols. I find that highly offensive. Highly offensive.
Be highly offensive that the regulations are not the way.
What regulations? There's newspapers hanging all over that jail. Jail regulations! I'm sorry. You're right now.
Let me ask you people a question. Anybody knows the answer to this, don't blurt it out. What do sperm and lawyers have in common? They both have a 1 in a million shot at becoming a human being. Now, I can say that, ladies and gentlemen, because my entire family, except for me, are lawyers. We have some B-roll of Kevorkian here. We call it B-roll, just some silent video for you to look at. Well, actually, it's got some audio to it, doesn't it? Here he is. There he is in jail. Doesn't look like he can read a newspaper if he had to.
Not well at all. Are you able to go ahead with this deposition now? No. I just wanted to left alone. Mrs. Cumby wants to ask you some questions regarding a case that's filed that you've been noticed as a witness. You feel well enough to go ahead with that right now? No. Would you like us to do this at another time? Yes.
Those are some incredible stomach growls I heard there. Let me tell you something here. I don't have any sympathy for the guy. I'm sorry. I'm not big on sympathy anyway. I think if you feel sympathetic for people, whoopee, what do you do after that? I mean, sympathy accomplishes nothing. Understandably, you have to feel a little bit of it at some point, but sympathy is never a solution or an answer to anything. Dr. Jack Kevorkian is being called by his supporters as a man who is assisting people to die with dignity. Now, he started out using a machine that was filled with poison that the victim had to actually, in effect, pull the trigger on. Dr. Death standing there observing, and this poison would drip in via an IV, and that's why we gave him the name Jack the Dripper. But he only used that the first 3 times. And there have been, what, is it 19 now or 8, something like that? It's an incredible number of people that I think he's killed. You know what he's using now? Carbon monoxide, the same stuff you could use if you sat in your car, closed the garage door, and started the engine. There's nothing medical about carbon monoxide. He does not know his patients. He doesn't get to know them at all. This has nothing to do with anything medical, the advancement of medical technology. All Jack Kevorkian is an executioner, folks. And to corrupt the medical community by taking a member... Look at the Hippocratic Oath when it says, I will give nobody medicine or anything that will cause them any harm. I guess it doesn't mean anything anymore. And I'm glad to see that people are standing up against this. I was afraid at one time that this becomes so common that whenever Jack Kevorkian executed somebody that it would not make news and be funneled to the back pages of the newspaper, but it's not. It's prominent, and for that we're very fortunate. One more quick thing here before we go to the break. There is this Menendez trial going on out in California. We've not commented on that at all. The Eric and Lyle Menendez case, they're accused of killing their parents, and they have come up with the most masterful defense in the history of courtroom trials. What has happened in this long drawn-out case is that their parents, who are in the grave, in essence, have been on trial. The way the defense has progressed here is to, in essence, say the people deserve to die. They deserve to be dead. The defense is saying these guys had a right to kill them because they were going to go public with the notion that they were abused as children and parents were not going to have that stand. It's the same old cop-out. And the judge, finally, some judges in L.A. are getting some sense. This judge has said he will not tolerate an acquittal. He will not tolerate, will not allow an acquittal in this case. So, I mean, that's one heck of an instruction or charge to the jury. So, we've got that taken care of. When we come back, we've got the president here in a little bit of a contradiction on lobbying. and something he said about what he would do to clean up lobbying during the campaign and what's really happening in his administration. And we'll get to that. It's funny and good and poignant right after this. Don't go away.
Here's an opportunity for you to receive free National Review's one-hour video chronicle, Ronald Reagan, an American President. Now, 8 of the most memorable years of American history are yours, captured for all time on video cassette. National Review brings you Ronald Reagan, an American President, a one-hour video chronicle of the Reagan years. It's the story of one man's determination and leadership, of our nation's triumphs, tragedies, and return to greatness. The Reagan years, a time of explosive economic growth and greatness for America. This video will make you laugh, make you cry, make you proud.
I'd like my presidency to be remembered as the one that gave the government back to the people.
Call 800-451-1223 now and receive 18 issues of National Review for only $29.95. With your paid subscription, we'll rush you free and postpaid Ronald Reagan, an American President. Call 800-451-1223 now. Call now.
Dieting alone didn't do it for me. I lost some weight, but I didn't have that firm, tight feeling I wanted. Don't just do it! Now I've got a fitness program, not just a diet.
Now that's doing it right. These are the final days to join for 6 months for only $99. Call 1-800-300-7000.
Do it right.
Space communication satellites, millions of components. Nancy Cruiser makes sure they all work together. She's sub-project manager for TRW and a DeVry graduate.
Today, managing technology takes teamwork, and that's what I learned at DeVry.
At DeVry, you learn hands-on. You work with others. You take charge.
I'm leading the team here because I was part of the team at DeVry.
Call now, 1-800-247-7800. Day and evening classes available. DeVry, we're serious about success.
It's contradiction time, hypocrisy time. Let's go back to June of 1992, right before the Democratic National Convention. The president was at that time the front runner. It was a foregone conclusion that he had won a nomination. And Perot, if you'll recall, at this time was running around really ripping foreign lobbyists. And I don't know if you people remember this or not, but there was a time during the campaign where Perot would say something one day, the next day Clinton would say the exact same thing, in an attempt to appeal to the Perotistas out there. And I remember myself pointing this out, saying, where is the originality with Mr. Clinton? Whatever he has to say, he'll say. And this is one of the things he said about lobbyists, June '92.
I think there should be limits on the revolving door from government to lobbyists. I think that we should make it much more difficult for people to walk out of a government job and start lobbying the agencies they used to work.
Now, he said the same thing again in October of 1992. We're just going to show you basically the same statement to make the case and to establish for you what he said about lobbying and how, remember now, this was all about change. We must have the courage to change. Here he is in October of '92, 7 months later.
People who work in high positions in government should not be able to leave those high positions and go right out and go to work for corporations lobbying the government.
Oh, really? Well, do you know what, does the name Howard Pastor mean anything to you? Howard Pastor was a high-ranking White House aide in the staff office, and so was a gentleman named Roy Neal. Now, Howard Pastor came from the firm of Hill and Knowlton, and Howard Pastor has decided after about a year here the pressure's too much, he's not seeing his family enough, so he wants to leave. And he is going to leave. He's going back to Hill and Knowlton. And here is the president offering, well, there's a little montage of the stories, because there's a lot of controversy about this, because what he's going to be doing, Mr. Pastor is going back and is going to be supervising Hill and Knowlton lobbyists. So he's now going to leave the White House, where he has had plenty of everyday access, and is now going to run back to Hill and Knowlton, the old firm where he used to work, same position, only this time he's obviously going to bring a little bit more to the party. And it's the same thing. They got Mike Deaver on. You remember that big cover in Time magazine? And they tried to get all these Reagan and Bush people on conflict of interest. And it was because of those people they made these rules. You got to stay out of government for a year and so forth. Here is the president sending Howard Pastor back to Hill and Knowlton with friendship. Watch.
I'm going to give the first of these pens to a person who is leaving my employ, but without whom we could not have passed this bill, my friend Howard Pastor.
That was at the, there's Howard now being given a big, big hug. Now, Howard Pastor was instrumental in signing NAFTA, or getting NAFTA passed. That was the signing ceremony for NAFTA. Now, Clinton has been asked about this because there are a lot of people raising some questions about it. So the other day, the same press conference, I guess they ran into him somewhere on the street in Washington, and it was the same time they asked him about his opinions of the Long Island Railroad Massacre. They asked him about this business of Howard Pastor and lobbyists, and has he really done anything to clean up this little bit of conflict of interest? Here was his answer.
What we did was to erect bigger walls against abuse. Neither one of them can ever lobby for a foreign interest, and neither one of them can lobby the executive office of the president for 5 years on any matter, even though the law only requires 1 year. So we've raised the wall higher, which is exactly what I promised to do.
Now, there are a lot of people who don't believe this, and it's not just me, and it's not just people like you, it's not just conservatives. Let me show you the editorial in Thursday's New York Times. Mr. Clinton spins the lobby door. And this editorial chronicles the entire history of Howard Pastor and Roy Neal, and makes the case that what's happening here is exactly what's happened in previous administrations, which is no big deal, other than Mr. Clinton was the one who made such a big deal. It would never happen in his administration. But now I want to read you the last line of this editorial, because I read this on Thursday. I could not believe it. Follow along with me. It says, as for Mr. Clinton's assertion yesterday that his guidelines are sufficient, we can only say, yet again, that we must not have been listening closely enough in 1992. Well, you know what they're admitting, ladies and gentlemen? Who was warning everybody in 1992? Who was listening in 1992? And who was shouting from this stage? Who was shouting from the radio microphones of the EIB network? Who was writing about it in his newsletter? Who was writing about it in his books? Me. I was one of the few people raising all of these contradictions, pointing out all of these, shall we say, falsehoods. And it is an amazing thing for me to see the New York Times admit that maybe they weren't listening close enough in 1992. For those of you who write editorials in the New York Times, I have a hint for you, a little tip, how this can never happen to you again. Listen to me every day, and I will tell you what's going on with this administration. One more thing. Now, you want to talk about lobbying and patronage. You all know the name Maxine Waters, right? We must understand their rage when they burn down a city. This is the woman, by the way, who in the flood relief bill for the Mississippi River flood, this is the woman who tacked on a rider that residents of South Central Los Angeles get a $100 check each. Her husband has been named ambassador to the Bahamas. His confirmation hearings began this week. His name is Sidney Williams. What are his qualifications, you're asking, no doubt? Well, he has been a very successful salesman of Mercedes-Benz automobiles in Hollywood for 3 years. He was a National Football League linebacker for 5 years for 4 teams, which means he was pretty bad. And if you're on 4 teams in 5 years, it means nobody wants you. And he's been to the Bahamas 3 times on vacation. He's the ambassador. So all this notion about we're going to have change and commitment and we're not going to have any of this patronage and lobbyist stuff, it's all smoke and mirrors, just like much of what comes out of the mouths of anybody in this administration is always smoke and mirrors. We have more on the other side of this break, so don't go away.
Listen, it's America's favorite Christmas music. Mannheim Steamroller. The music that changed forever the sound and rhythm of the season. Look for this display. and make Mannheim Steamroller a part of your Christmas tradition.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Pills take time to dissolve, but Alka-Seltzer Plus is ready the moment you take it to soothe your aches, relieve your runny nose, free your breathing. Nothing rushes relief like Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Bernie, my beak's all stuffed up.
I feel nice and clear.
All stuffed up.
Mel, try Nice and Clear.
New sugar-free Nice and Clear cools your throat and has 40% more icy medicine to make your nose feel clear.
Ah, now I feel nice and clear like you.
They say we look alike, too.
Tonight, get real on 13 Real News.
Hold it!
The great Hollywood Western. No movie genre has ridden so high in the saddle.
It's actually the contribution, perhaps the major contribution to the cinema from the United States to the world of film.
Once a favorite of the silver screen, the Western all but went that-a-way. Well, it's back in a big way. But what's behind this new popularity? Round up for the answers tonight on 13 Real News at 10.
Attention drivers with tickets or accidents on your driving record. Dasher's Insurance Service is now offering full coverage auto insurance with the absolute lowest down payment guaranteed. Even if you've been canceled.
Even if you've just bought a new car.
Dashers will write your new policy with the absolute lowest down payment guaranteed. In fact, our average down payment is just $157. Call for a quote. Dashers Insurance Service. We're in the Pacific Bell Smart Yellow pages under insurance.
We're in the midst of a massive economic recovery, they say. But take a look at this headline. This is from the New York Post on Thursday. The cost of the recovery is 606,000 jobs. 606,000 white-collar jobs have been lost during the Clinton economic recovery. And most of these jobs are white-collar jobs. People working in middle and upper management are the ones losing their jobs. Now, this presents a number of dichotomies or problems. Because on the one hand, layoffs are bad. But on the other hand, companies downsizing is good in the terms that they're becoming more efficient. The amount of work being done by all these companies is remaining the same. So that means that the per capita output per worker production in this company is outstandingly high. So we can say we've got the greatest productivity in the world, and we do. At the same time, these people are out of work. And when you have an economy that is not growing very fast, which this one really is not, despite all you've heard recently, where are these 600,000 people, 606,000 going to go to get work? The only thing that can get them a job is an expanding economy. And it just isn't there, not with these new tax increases scheduled right around the corner. Now, I want to show you a headline that was accompanying this in USA Today about the Xerox announcement. They're laying off 10,000 people. Look, economy can shrug off Xerox layoffs. The first line of that story, layoffs still hurt, but they aren't much of a threat to the economy anymore. Tell that to these white-collar people being laid off. I guarantee you, these were blue-collar jobs, labor jobs, hamburger flipper jobs. You'd see the press talking about what a rotten economy this was, how this is unfair, immoral, and intolerable. Just want you people out there in the white-collar roles to know that, see, these people are management. It's about time they found out what it's like. Those are the people that have been giving everybody else the shaft. Let them find out. That's the attitude that there is out there about these people, and it's not right. Too many people are getting too much satisfaction from the pain and misery and suffering of others. And this administration has brought a lot of that on with this whole class exploitation, class envy exploitation. We are for you, and we're standing beside you, and we think we know what the medicine needs to be, and that's a growing economy. And you look down the road at the future, and you don't see much sign of one. But if it helps, we know you're there, and our heart's with you. We'll do what we can. We'll be back after this with our closing segment. Don't go away.
If you think big government is the problem, not the solution, if you believe that the future depends on informed citizens making their voices heard, then you need Insight Magazine. Insight writers probe behind the headlines to tell you what really happens. We present the best research and thinking of eminent scholars, and incisive comment on issues that affect your lives. We tell you how every congressman votes, how the bureaucracy really works, and our new book, Capital Contacts, tells you exactly who is responsible for what in Washington. Capital Contacts gives you their names and direct phone lines. Subscribe today to Insight. Receive 52 issues for $34.84. Just 67 cents an issue to have the latest information about your country and your government at your fingertips. Pay now and we'll rush you Capital Contacts, a $14.95 value, absolutely free. Remember, buy Insight today and get Capital Contacts free. Make your voice heard. Call now.
What if this Christmas, every woman got exactly what she wanted? What if it wasn't made out of flannel? What if it was her favorite color? What if it wasn't too small? What if it didn't have a wash, rinse, or spin cycle? What if every woman got what she really wanted this Christmas? Unlikely? Obviously, you haven't seen this year's selection of fine jewelry from Best.
Somewhere between sundown and sunrise comes Stetson Sierra. So distinctive, it's the new power of attraction.
Where can you find the biggest savings on toys? The Playco pre-Christmas sale. Save up to 60% store-wide. Hurry, sale on now.
Take a look at this, folks. President is getting things done. It's a Times Mirror poll. August 93, only 36% of the American people thought he was accomplishing things. December 93, they say 63% of the American people say he's getting a lot done. They are saying that it's because of NAFTA and the Brady Bill. Well, I hate to tell you this, but if NAFTA and the Brady Bill are why you think the president's getting things done, then really you got to applaud Newt Gingrich. The Republicans are the ones that got NAFTA done. He couldn't have done it without the Republicans. And I think it's only fair and only right that President Newt Gingrich get the credit for getting things done. We'll see you on our next show. Have a fine day.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
Hey, Remington, shave this. Introducing the Remington Triple Foil, the only shaver with 3 narrow microscreens. Remington Triple Foil. If you can grow it, we can shave it.
Actifed, the full prescription strength medicine that helps relieve the stuffy, drippy misery of a head cold. For effective relief, take Actifed. Preferred Stock, the extra smooth cologne for an extra special man. Preferred Stock, what preferred men prefer. From the House of Stetson.
If you'd like to order a video cassette of Rush's TV show for only $24.95, just call Video Archives at 1-800-FOR-VIDEO. For a transcript, send $5 to Burrell's, Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039, or call 1-800-777-PET.